The Earl of Briarton, the eminence of the artistic world in the Lancaster Kingdom, has received many compliments for his delicate and colorful style of art, now known as the Hand of God. Ines speaks. That's what they call it. Those who don't know him, however, several of the paintings published under his name are, in fact, his wife's paintings. What does he think? The other royal persons reply. It's interesting. But why does the Countess let her husband take all the credit? Ines replies, Elton, the most important media company in the kingdom, and owned by the Duke of Sussex. She asks him to publish the true story of her husband. She just wants her life back. Now back in time when Ines was younger, she lost her parents in a train accident, and she became the only heiress of her family. She just found peace in Ryan, by committing herself to him. He is the second son of the Goth family, in a position where it's hard to inherit a fortune or get the title of his family. Ryan stated, "What's the point of being an earl? Every man must find a way to make his name stand out, don't she think?" Ines thought she wanted to fulfill all his wishes, even if she had to put his name on all her paintings so he could have all the credit. She did it because she wanted to see him happy. In the next scene, Charlotte asks, "Does the Count spend a lot of time away from home?" Ines replies, "Yes, he always says he is going to work in his workshop, although he has been coming home drunk lately. Also, when he came home one night, she swear, he smelled like a woman's perfume." Ryan denies everything. Charlotte speaks, "It's partly her fault. Don't she think so? Tell her the truth. She has an unattractive personality for men. They hate obsessive women like her. She should know that by now." Ines asks, "Then what should she do?" Charlotte says, "If she were in her position, she would leave the Earl alone. Ryan is a free-spirited person. Don't she think that giving him space will help make her relationship lasting?" Listen to her lines. She is telling her this because she cares about her. Ines replies, "Yes, thanks. She really appreciates her." After some days, Ines thought it's been 3 days, but Ryan still has not come back from the workshop. She is very worried that something has happened to him, but he just must have a lot of work. Today is their wedding anniversary. He must be very busy. She will bring him some snacks. She wonders what face he will make when he sees her. Will he be surprised? She loved her husband with all her heart. He was a dear friend from her childhood. Only that was enough. That's what she thought. Then she saw Ryan and Charlotte having love. After what happened at the shop, Ryan changed his attitude and tried to persuade her. Ryan said he is sorry. Nothing serious. Men sometimes behave like children. She is the only one for him. Ines could not say no to his pretty words. After all, she still loved him. The next day, she thought Ryan cheats on her because she is not good enough. If she tries harder for him, if he manages to be recognized, will Ryan come back to her? It was then one day, Ryan stated she has worked so hard, she really was a great help. So don't she think it's time for them to get a divorce? Guess what? She is no longer Countess of Briarton. Excessive apathy, paranoia, hallucinations, and delusions. She is such a psychopath. Finish the admission process. They will come to pick her up soon. Here they say goodbye. Ines thought she has to run away. She can't let them lock her up in an asylum. How did they get to this? She has dedicated her entire life to her husband. She gave him her title, her honor, and her own life. She gave him everything. Now she wants it back. The next scene, Ines opens her eyes. The maid speaks, "Lady, look at her. She is drenched in sweat. Did she have a nightmare?" Ines thought, "This is her room. Was it all a nightmare?" The maid says, "She must be really exhausted. This is a very important day for her because today is her wedding anniversary." Ines shouts, "Anniversary? What's today's date?" The maid tells her the date. Ines thought, how could she forget the worst day of her life? Today marks 3 years since she discovered the affairs between her husband and her friend. She came back to the worst wedding anniversary of her life. After some time, the maid asks, "Lady, is she sure she don't want to rest a little more?" Ines asks, "Why is there so much food served?" The maid replies, "It's her dinner for her wedding anniversary." Ines tells her, can she leave her alone for a moment? Then she thought she remembers everything. This time, the food and the flowers that she chose herself to decorate the table. All this to make Ryan happy. Always him. What the hell? Of course, she is not well. The husband she loves with all her heart and her closest friend. But still, he never loved her. Her love for Ryan is pathetic. And the friendship with Charlotte was a waste. She is ashamed. How stupid she was. A few days later, Ines thought no one's seen Ryan during the day. She guesses he would rather be on a date with Charlotte. She has cried enough. Now it's time to work. The first thing she has to do is take back everything Ryan took from her. The best way to get her fortune and her title back is the divorce, according to the laws of the kingdom. The formula for the divorce between nobles. Convincing reasons must be presented in a trial before the king. But there is a problem. In the social environment of the kingdom, men are superior. They can thrive in the outside world while women only take care of the home. The problem is not legal, but that the social environment doesn't allow women to divorce, unless she makes a fuss and gets the king to understand her. Wait, a scandal. How did she think of it before? Ryan's reputation as an artist was a product of publishing her paintings on his own. She can reveal that Ryan is not a real artist since he published her paintings on his own. Then she thought of Elton, the most important newspaper in the kingdom. In the past, when Ryan published his painting in this newspaper, he quickly became the best painter in the kingdom. Is there any way she can publicly denounce Ryan through Elton? Suddenly, Ryan came and asked if she was at home. Her husband just got home. But she can't go out. It's really a shame. What is this, Elton? Was she looking for some new gossip in such an important newspaper? Then he thought, how pathetic, as expected of a woman. Ines stated, how funny, is that all he has to say? Won't he ask if sales increased? Isn't it the same thing? Aren't they the same? They both are enjoying their time. Ryan asks, what is she saying? Ines speaks, Mary must have sent someone since she is sick, and her wife was bedridden because of sickness, and yet he has not shown up even once. Ryan stated, that's because he has urgent business out there. Can't she be a little more understanding? Ines asks, it's some outside business. Then what is that? Ryan replies, he has something to discuss with her. Did she know that the upcoming New Year's prom will be held at the castle? Ines thought, the New Year's prom. This is a great opportunity for us to give the royal family a good impression. Ryan tells her, this year's prom is going to be different from last year's. Even Sussex, the Duke, will make his presence. Ines thought, Lord Sussex is the younger brother of the king. He is the second most powerful man who is next in line to be king. Wait, there is another thing more important than that. He is the owner of Elton. Mouthpiece, Ryan speaks. Did she know that the Duke's hobby is to support talented artists? Those who receive his support will all become famous. This is the chance for him to show off his name as the greatest painter in this society. Therefore, she should pay more attention to herself for the prom. Ines thought, in her past life, Ryan always sidelined her for his own self-interest, but it's different now. She will see the Duke at the ball and ask him to publish an article in the Elton newspaper. If only she can do that, then maybe she can divorce him. The next day, Mary thought, why does the lady seem a bit less energetic recently? She used to always busy herself with cooking and paintings to show the master. She wants to help her somehow. The other maid told her, Baron's daughter is on the first floor. Mary tells her, lady, there is Baron's daughter who has arrived. Ines asks, what? She comes by without making an appointment. Mary replies, yes, as usual. Ines thought, Charlotte always comes in and out of the mansion like it is her own. Honestly, how low does she think of her? The next moment, Charlotte came and said she heard that Ines is feeling unwell, but she looks completely fine for a sick person. Is she just overreacting? By the way, there is an upcoming New Year's prom that's going to be held soon. Actually, she doesn't have a horse wagon to come to the prom, so can she ride with Ines in her wagon? Ines thought she has such a beautiful smile. But it's her who colluded with Ryan in a plan to put her in a mental hospital. Really, she was such a fool, knowing nothing. Ines stated, let her go. Touching others so carelessly. She knows that behavior is very rude. Even if they are friends, she apologizes. But her head is killing her today. Please leave. Goodbye, her only friend. On the other hand, the king stated, "That's good. He is glad his brother can join the prom. Loosen up his face. Is he dissatisfied with being forced into attending the prom?" The Duke replies, "His Majesty, what is he thinking?" The king replies, "He was nothing else for him, other than having him to meet a pretty lady at the prom. On the day of the ball, he will have to be in his best suit, don't he know? There might be someone he will be interested in." After that, the Duke thought, someone he will be interested in, not funny at all. Then it's the day of the prom. Ryan asks, "What takes her so long?" Ines arrives. Ryan is shocked and asks if she is insane. "What is she wearing?" Ines replies, "He told her to pay attention to how she looks for this prom." Ryan speaks. He wants her to help make her husband look good. Shouldn't she be ashamed? Where did she get such extravagant behavior? Ines stated, "Really now? He is here wearing a top-notch suit like this, while the disowned come to the ballroom in shabby outfits. Isn't that more embarrassing?" Ines thought about the earrings mother left her. If she didn't return to the past, then they, along with the countess title, would still belong to Charlotte. Absolutely, she won't live her life how she did before. Then, at the party, the Baroness speaks, "Countess, it's been such a long time. She is stunning today." The other noble ladies chat about why the Countess is dressing up so gorgeously today. The next lady replies, she heard that the Count is letting that happen because he neglects his wife. She guesses it's only a rumor. Charlotte comes and asks what is that her style. She already told her. Ines looks better in simple outfits in comparison to more extravagant luxurious ones. Ines thought, liar. Charlotte hates it when she stands out more than herself, so she says things like that every time. Ines tells her it's because being pretty in other people's eyes doesn't really matter. She prefers this. She means seeing her wearing this dress. The Baroness has just given her compliments. Charlotte thought, what? Usually Ines would listen to everything she said, Ines stated. Never before when she took her fashion advice did she receive such nice words of praise. She supposes her fashion sense is better than Charlotte. Ryan asks what she means. Lady Jason only meant well for her, so she gave her opinion. Do she really have to embarrass her in front of other people like this? It's such a shame to have a close friend like her. Then he thought this is a good opportunity. She has been acting so full of herself these days. If he can lower her spirit before others, then things be quieter. The Duke stated, "It seems like he has arrived at a bad time." Ryan was shocked. Ines thought that person is the Duke and younger brother of the king. The Duke continues, "The paintings that Count published recently are quite well, so he came here to say hello. But even when his emotions are getting out of hand, being so loud at a place like this doesn't seem to be a wise decision." The Count starts to achieve his success in the world of arts, only since his marriage to the Countess, after being married, to show off his talent to the world. It's his wife who stays by his side to offer him unconditional support. Today is a good day. Let's put this mishap aside and enjoy the party with his gorgeous, beautiful Countess. Now, please excuse him. He hopes they will have a good time. Ines thought about the Duke. This is the first time someone understands her efforts. She is so touched. She might cry. After some time, the Duke thought he was going to go back just for the sake of showing up. But all those faces, Ines came. Duke asks for what reason she is here. Ines replies, "This might seem sudden, but do he know why her husband doesn't paint portraits of other people?" Duke thought to think of it. He never heard of any portraits painted by the Count. For such a famous artist like himself, one would have thought that portrait requests are frequent. Ines speaks, "It's because he can't paint. The paintings of Ryan are actually not his drawings." Duke thought back in time. That was truly a beautiful piece of work. Nobles are praising the Count for his masterpiece. The other person said he must have been captivated by the Count's work. Duke replied on sight, "It's impossible not to be mesmerized by such an amazing talent right in front of him. Indeed, the rumors are true, truly worthy of the title, the painter that owns the hand of God." And now that was a shock for him. He asks what is she talking about. Ines replies, "That's exactly what it is. Ryan took other people's paintings and claimed them to be his own. There was another painter who painted those pictures. Duke asks if what she says is true. Then this is an insult to the entire art world in Lancaster. Those words, can she prove it? Ines replies, yes, she can. Duke thought paper and pen. Is she going to paint? The moments are natural and so flowy, like water, as if she is someone who has been drawing for a long time. Ines speaks, it's done. Sir, the person who painted the pictures for Ryan is actually, Duke stated. Stop right there. She doesn't have to say anything more. So that's how it is. The real painter was robbed of her title by the Count. Is she the Countess of Byerton? Maybe that's also why he have never seen the Count painted any of his work, Ines replies. That's right, because his true ability will be revealed in front of others. Duke asks why is she telling this truth. Ines replies, it's quite difficult for her to tell him everything now, but for sure, the promise that this will not harm him. Then she will get going. The answer will have to wait next time. Duke stated, for the following week, when Elton G newspaper comes out, pay attention to the advertising. He will answer her, there is more, her hands are dirty, clean up first and then get inside the letter. Ines replies, thanks, sir. After that, Ryan asks where was she, the party has begun. Ines replies, she is sorry, she should probably go back to the mansion to rest today. If he can't come back, he can stay, she will return alone. Ryan speaks, well, if she says so, get home first and rest. Ines thought she made it. She was able to speak to the Duke, if only the Duke will respond to her request. A few days later, the Duke's reply has arrived, compared to what she thinks, in a more daring way. In the advertisement, Duke wrote that the evening 3 days ago, he still has not forgotten their conversation. He wants them to talk more specifically about the gifts she gave him. Any time is fine. So he will wait for the next meeting, beginning with the letter S. On the other hand, Duke thought if the Countess's words are true, this is no different from deceiving the kingdom, moreover, to the art world in the entire continent. Women and commoners are in a place where they mostly can't name themselves, had taken advantage of the conservative atmosphere of the kingdom. How could he not realize it until now? He wonders if something like this will happen. First, he needs to verify that the Countess's words are true. The next day Duke asks, thinking back, it's still a bit strange. For an artist, the work process does not have to be hidden. But if it was the Countess who painted instead, he can understand why the Count is so afraid to reveal it. But the Count's suspicious behavior doesn't seem like the reason for the Countess and him to work together. Then he thought if what the Countess said is true, then of course, sanctions will be applied. However, it is not necessary. He personally helps the Countess. Count Briarton's family is quite a prestigious family in the kingdom. The fact that he helps the Countess cannot be considered an act with political intentions. Ines speaks. There is a reason for that. She knows that His Highness won't just help out of goodwill alone, so she will give him the benefits he is going to get through this. The Duke is the owner of Elton newspaper and also a journalist. Therefore, the process by which her husband collapsed, she will let him in with the news exclusively. Duke stated, this is a great exciting event. The only way to resolve this in peace is to talk to her husband, removing that option and choose to publish this in a newspaper. He thinks there must be some reason behind, though the downfall of her husband, but do she want to achieve? Ines replies, her husband. There is a woman that he loves more than her, that mistress is her friend. Those two met each other and chose to receive her, as he already know in this country. It is very difficult to win a divorce case when the husband is having an affair. It's just that all those things she wants to find them again. Duke thought, so that's how it is, Elton going to try to get help from the public for her divorce case. Then he asks, but will it be all right? Elton is the major newspaper read by the majority of the people. The moment the rumors published in the newspaper, the Count and Lady Jason, including her, will also be discussed by everyone. From an owner's point of view, this is an article that he would love to have, but with the wounds she has been suffered, he would be better reconsider. Ines thought, this is the first time hearing other people worry for her so much, but she has already made up her mind. After some time, Duke asks if it is reported. He will conduct cross-verification of this incident. Then the most important thing remains. Pictures published under the name of the Count. Lady, please prove that she drew them. He has kept some pictures to check the painting style. She will have to draw exactly the same as one of them. Ines thought, just a few days or 3 years. During that time a lot of the facts around her changed. Only this feeling after the volcano would always be the same, after she completes the drawing. Duke asks, have she finished? Ines replies, it's still not quite perfect, Duke stated. Don't worry about it. If anyone doubts her, they are going to be really silly. Looking forward to helping her then, painter with God's hand. Duke thought back in time nobles speak. Since the moment His Majesty showed His Excellency, even though he was young, he had been incredibly. Wouldn't it be all right to delay Prince Edward installation as the crown? When he takes the throne, please remember him. Then he saw his brother, Edward, ask why did he look so gloomy? Did someone bother him? He thought of course the eventual situation went against the noble's intention. Now back in the present time, Duke speaks. The Briarton Countess is truly a genius, being shadowed by the Count, the death of a talent, also such a shame. If he wants to attract the people's attention, then it has to be something unique. The butler asks, so how is that? Duke replies, an art exhibition. However, this exhibition, regardless of gender or status, everyone will be able to approach the displayed works. The butler asks, His Majesty, this has never happened before. Duke replies, of course, like he said, the more unique the better. After some days, nobles are chatting. The Elton owner is holding an art exhibition. On the other hand, commoners are also chatting. It seems that this exhibition will support anyone regardless of their gender or status. This really is something big is going to happen. Ines asks, where is Ryan? The maid replies, Master is in his bedroom. Ines went to the bedroom. She saw a lipstick mark on Ryan's shirt, then she is laughing. Next day, Butler speaks of the investigation result. A few years prior, the Count's artistic ability. There are many testimonies from the people around him at the time, describing it as merely at a basic education. Besides, there are doubts regarding the relationship between him and Baron Jason's daughter. Butler asks His Majesty. Duke reply he apologize. Butler speak he is sure Duke is interested in the artists. Duke he know it's one of the few habits he has left. The next scene, Ryan speaks. Have she heard about the news? It seems that the Duke will hold an art exhibition. Ines asks, so what? Ryan replies, what do she mean? So what? This art exhibition is a great chance for him to become one of the top-tier artists in this whole kingdom. Her husband achieving such success, isn't that a wonderful thing for her as a wife? Therefore, she has to create a painting for him to put on display at the exhibition. She will do that all the time. Ines replies, he knows what. Today is the first day he has had dinner with her since last month. Ryan lies. Why is she talking about that? She already knows when men have social activities, they cannot come home often. Ines asks, in such a busy social life like that, he only comes home early on days he has something to ask for. Ryan replies, from now on, he will try to get back as early as possible. He will work on a schedule for them to have a meal together at least once a week. Ines thinks he said he wants to settle this by only rarely having meals together. How ridiculous. She replies she will think about it. Ryan says, thanks, she is the best. Ines thinks it's her who should say thanks because he walked straight into the trap. After some time, Ines tells him that Ryan told her to paint for the display at the art exhibition. Duke replies, exactly like their prediction, even the Count could not cross the threshold with his own skills because she will know it. Ines says, right now, they only need to proceed with the plan. Duke stated, in the exhibition, there will be a painting labeled with the Count's name, and there will also be another similar painting being displayed under her name. The two paintings, having the same artistic style, will become a controversial topic of discussion among guests, and thanks to that, the truth that the Count is merely a fake artist can be disclosed. Of course, the part where two paintings must be completed in such a short amount of time will surely be difficult for her. Ines replies she wants to thank him for this opportunity. Duke speaks, the only thing left to do is to finish the two paintings. To do that, She needs a place for the painting process where the Count can't watch. Ines replies. Thanks for his concern, but regarding a place to paint, she already had an ideal place. The next scene, Duke asks, "This is amazing." He didn't expect she would be here by herself. Ines replies. She would prefer looking at the paintings and buying ones she will use. Ines thinks she is more surprised by the fact that Duke is following her. Even though he is in casual clothes, like an ordinary citizen, how can he still be so handsome? Then the shop owner speaks, saying she said she was looking for an atelier, so this is the best room for that. Ines speaks. From that window, she can see the art street. Duke tells her the view is so awesome. He can feel the thrumming of life of the artist that could not be seen from inside the palace. Ines asks if he must be very busy with his work, so thanks for coming here with her today. Regardless, it's because of her he has wasted a lot of time. He must be angry right now. She offers him a sandwich. Ines thinks she is an idiot. There is no way Duke will try food like that, such a meaningless action. Duke replies he appreciates her offer. However, the only benefit he receives from this place is a sandwich, which doesn't sound right at all. So miss, once she retrieves her rightful titles from the Count, then have dinner with him. Ines thinks is that what he wants? Then she replies, sure. The next day, Duke asks, what about Miss Ines? The shop owner, Madam, replies, she is working at the gallery. She didn't take a day off because she was painting. The picture is beautiful, but if she stays like this, her body will be exhausted. Anyway, what is the relationship between the two of them? It took her almost all day to find the gallery. He cares about Ines too, right? Duke thinks that in the eyes of others, if the madam finds out, it will be very embarrassing. He has to be careful. Then Duke sees Ines working on a painting. Ines speaks. He freaked her out. At least please knock on the door before entering. Duke replies. He knocked on the door twice. Ines says, sorry, because she is focusing on painting. There will be cases where she can't hear the sound around. Duke stated. He brought some delicious food. Would she like to use them? The sandwich is the last time she bought for him. Now he bought them from the same store because it seems he will like them. Ines replies. Thanks. This is her first time that someone took care of her like this. Well, the picture is almost done. Would he like to take a look? She hopes this is not a picture with many shortcomings that he sees. Duke speaks. Wow, it's a painting room in the morning. Ines replies. Yes, and this side will be sketched with her name. Duke stated. It's like a series of works. Ines replies. She made it like that on purpose, since they are almost the same. What she means is that anyone who looks at them can feel the suspicion. Duke speaks. If that was her intention, she would have succeeded perfectly. Ines replies he said that it made her comfortable. Duke asks if he will take it and bring it away as soon as she is done. Ines says she plans to bring it to the house in town once. Could Ryan? No matter what painting she drew. Then maybe everyone will be curious. Duke thinks the wife is still expecting her husband. At least the husband will be interested in his own artistic achievements. He has a little hope. Then he replies it's okay. He understood. The next scene, Ines speaks. Now he is coming. The smell of alcohol. Then she said, over there, Ryan. She finished the painting to display at the art exhibition. Can she allow him to take a look? Ryan asks why him. He is sure she will just do it herself. Don't ask such useless things. Ines replies okay. On the day of the art exhibition, the Royal Society of Arts chairman speaks. The art exhibition is held in the Royal Gallery. Indeed, it is strange. The atmosphere of an art exhibition is really chaotic. Originally, the Royal Gallery is home to the works of artists belonging to the Royal Society of the Arts. Why is this surrounding same noisy? So the painting of Earl Briarton has been displayed. There are two pictures, aren't they very similar? After some time, Ines came and thought, this is all the people going to the art exhibition. Only then will it be work to enter the exhibition hall. Nobles started chatting. Look over there. Isn't that the Countess? Is it true that she drew a work that looks exactly like her husband's painting? It must have been drawn by the same person. Ines thought, although that's what she was aiming for, it was such a burden to get attention from so many people. but it's much better to live with insults all her life. Duke welcomed her, saying that he was so happy to have her. Noble ladies thought, how can the Duke show such intimacy? Duke then said, looks like it's got enough attention, shall we go then? After that, Duke spoke, from now on, it's a stage for this lady. To all visitors here, he would like to introduce Countess Ines Briarton. She is the person who painted the most attention-grabbing picture in this art exhibition. She is also the painter with the hand of God. Baroness asked if Mrs. Briarton is a painter with the head of God. Wait, so what's the Count painting? Is her words true, Countess? On the other hand, Charlotte said, Ryan, look at this, it's a big deal. Ryan saw the newspaper, and was shocked. The headline was the Earl Briarton scam, stating Ines submitted a painting under his name. Charlotte asked, what's now? It's an article in Elton magazine. Half of the population has read it. Ryan stated he needed to go and fix it right away. In the next scene, Ryan was at the exhibition. People were chatting. Isn't that the Earl Briarton? Look at his expression. That article is really true. Ryan shouted, what the hell happened to this? Do she even know what the fuss is about? What he wanted, Ines replied. It's what she wanted. Her painting is displayed under his name. But Ryan, she doesn't want to do that anymore. Didn't he hear? She doesn't want to sacrifice for him anymore. How long is he going to live with her like a parasite? Ryan shouted, what the hell? Then he thought, he is not mistaken. This woman something has become firmly strange. Duke asked, what the hell is this all about? Nice to meet him, Count. This situation was similar to that year-end ball, but this is an art exhibition hosted by him. He won't allow anyone to harm the artist he has chosen here. Moreover, in a situation where it was unclear whether the Count would be able to retain his artist status. The Count thought about the article he read earlier. It was obviously Elton John. Then that play. It started from the beginning, Ines said. Back to the mansion. Soon the divorce petition will disappear. The next day in the newspaper, the headlines were about Count Briarton's divorce case. Who won? The Count is determined to find his life again. Who is the real artist of Wabang Road? The king stated, so, he did something interesting. Is he a late bloomer? Duke asked if he called him here just to talk about this. The king said he should not have gotten involved with such a sinister woman. He thought Duke didn't care about women. Anyway, the Countess, since getting married, has not appeared in the upper class. He thought she has a good life. Seems like there were a lot of obstacles. He is curious, should they also visit the art exhibition once? Little brother Duke replied, please stop. Anyways, she is a very pitiful person. Don't put pressure on her. Moreover, there is no need to go to an art exhibition. The two of them will soon eat during the divorce trial with the Count. His Majesty, what judgment will he make? The king replied he didn't know. After carefully reviewing the document, he will make a judgment that does not favor either side, even though he doesn't know the reason. But if he wants to support her, he would better get ready. But is it true that the two of them have no relationship at all? Duke replied, please stop it. At the Hamilton Hotel, there are a lot of journalists there, and ask one another, is this where the Count is? The other one replied, he tried to lure the manager, but it didn't work. Then in the hotel, Ines thought although it may become a hot spot, but now everyday life is not normal anymore. All the media in the kingdom are buzzing about the war between them. Ryan claims to be the victim, but compared to the media power of Elton, this defense is not very worrisome. Actually, she really wants to kick him out of the mansion. She doesn't need to say superfluous sentences, when the divorce trial is only a matter of time. Actually, she has come this far. It's all thanks to Duke's help. A hotel staff person came and told her madam no one is allowed in. But now Viscount Goth's wife is looking for her. Ines thought Ryan's mother and her mother-in-law. Back in time, Viscount spoke. The mansion is so beautiful. She is glad to be able to become family with the Countess. Although the sadness of losing a parent cannot be erased, she will cherish her love. But the image of a nice mother-in-law is completely fake. After getting married, she and Ryan robbed Briarton's property, because while accepting her existence, she often acts like a stranger to her. Then Viscount came and asked what kind of impolite act is this. She heard it all. She heard Ines embarrassed Ryan in an art exhibition that caught the public's attention. If she is a wife, she just needs to obey her husband. How dare she bully her son? Ines replied now she is thinking of divorcing Ryan. Viscount shouted. What divorce? She is just an orphan and doesn't even have children. She loved and respected her so much. She threw Briarton's honor on the ground. Ines replied what she said. She didn't know why Viscountess thinks that way about Briarton's honor. But that worry, if she and Ryan get a divorce, she won't have to worry anymore. How lucky. And the inability to have children, she may have to examine if it's her fault or Ryan's. Despite having spent countless nights with his mistress, he still doesn't have a child. Viscountess spoke. Sweetheart, she is young, so she doesn't know anything about this world. How can she not know how hurt Ines was when Ryan had an affair? But that's what men are, even if she is absent for a bit. Ines thought because she was orphaned at an early age, she was very weak in front of the affections of adults, the fact that her godfather sided with Ryan in their relationship. And also touched the property of the Count's family. She thought it all made sense, so she ignored it. Like a fool. Looks like there is nothing more to say. Viscountess shouted. She is such an idiot. Does she think divorce is easy for a woman? Wait and see. She will fail and have to ask for her forgiveness. After some time, Duke came and asked he came to visit her. What happened? Ines replied. Well, her mother-in-law came, but she was already gone. Duke asked Madame if so would she like to stay in his mansion. The next scene, Ines spoke. It turned out that there was such a beautiful forest behind the mansion. Then she thought she can't stay on a pilgrimage because of her mother-in-law, and until the day of judgment, she is indebted to his mansion. Duke stated, there is only 1 day left to complete the divorce proceedings. How does she feel? Ines replied. Well, she doesn't know either. She feels a little apprehensive. If she loses this divorce, she will have to live as a partner with Ryan again. If so, she won't be able to bear it. Duke spoke. That absolutely won't happen. He is sure Madame will win the case, as Elton's master. He assured her. Ines started laughing that she had never seen him raise his voice like this. Thanks to that, she thinks her stress has eased a bit. After that, Ines said, Wow. Look, there are rabbits. She wants to sketch. Could he wait for her 10 minutes? Duke replied he will. Then he remembered her words, when she said she had never seen him raise his voice like this. The next day in the court hearing, the king stated Countess Briarton's divorce trial begins. First, let's start by listening to the Count's side that opposes the divorce request. People are chatting about Ryan's lawyer. Isn't he a divorce lawyer, Viscount? He must have received a huge fee. Then the lawyer started saying her husband is famous for her stolen paintings, so she wants a divorce. These are just one-sided words on the part of the Countess. The king spoke. He also heard that the painting style of the two paintings displayed at the art exhibition is quite similar. The lawyer replied that the Count and his wife have been painting together for a long time. Their drawing style will probably be the same. External evidence causes chaos in the art world of the kingdom. It's an act that dirties both the Count's judgment and honor. Duke thought everyone's reaction was not as good as expected, probably because it's not obvious if the painting was stolen. The king stated, Countess's side, please defend. Ines' lawyer introduced himself. Ines thought he is so young. 2 years ago, lawyer McDowell. She never thought she would see him as a lawyer because in the future, he will be the best lawyer in the kingdom. If Ryan's plan is to hire a lawyer with high fees, then she has information in the future. Ines' lawyer spoke. According to the other party, the Count and his wife have been painting together for a long time. So, everyone, please take a look at this. This is the painting of the Count couple in an art exhibition. So, Count, can he explain the production process of this painting? Count replied. He focused on creating a transparent color by adjusting the concentration of water, while maintaining the colorful colors of the street. The lawyer asked, if so, did he work on the paper completely dry so the paint would not smear? Count replied. Well, of course. His lawyer asked, what is he saying? Ines' lawyer stated, so, Isn't it weird? He was able to confirm that these works were made with a technique that allows the paper to work while it's not dry and blurs the borders smoothly. He wondered if the Count knows the production process of Painting Street. Can he tell us where the actual setting of this painting is? Count didn't know what to say. Inés spoke. The 2nd Avenue on Painting Street. This is the view from the 2nd floor of Mrs. Lance's atelier. People were chatting. Why is he so panicking although he said he painted it? Count's lawyer spoke. His client is suffering from insight over his divorce proceeding. How embarrassing it must have been at his wife's sudden request for divorce, who had thought that they had confirmed their fate in each other through love marriage. He understands, madam. After the marriage, the Count could not be as faithful to her as when the two of them were in love, but don't men have an unavoidable social life? The Count was often absent, so she must have felt sad naturally, but the result is such perjury, Inés thought. Perjury. All her regrets, all her anger, are they all lies? Inés spoke. A social life means hugging and loving a woman who is not his wife, Count asked. What is he talking about? Inés spoke. This is the daily newspaper published today. In this newspaper, her husband's adultery is accused with clear evidence. Duke raised his finger, and the staff handed the newspapers to the nobles. Then nobles started chatting. Isn't this Baroness Charlotte Jason? Somehow they are so close. So, did Madame eventually request a divorce due to her husband's adultery? Inés continued. A perfect marriage did not exist from the beginning. Ryan only wanted a title and reputation as a painter. Ryan shouted. Nonsense. It's all bullshit from that crazy woman. The king stated. He has heard both sides' arguments. It looks like a divorce will be decided once the obscure facts are sorted out. Then do it like this. The Count couple should redraw Painting Street from this spot. After that, the painting drawing process started. Count did not know what to do. On the other hand, Inés drew the painting beautifully. After some time, the time was over. The person from court spoke. Then let's check out the drawing of the Count couple. The king stated, wait, before verifying, there is something he would like to ask the Countess. Do she really want to divorce the Count? The purpose of Madame is to restore property rights and honor through divorce from the Count. If he would guarantee all of that exacting, is she even willing to continue her marriage with the Count? Inés was shocked. Duke thought, brother, what is he doing? Inés replied, no, when her husband proposed to her, she thought this marriage would fill her lack. It made her forget the void in her family. She believed that it would make her forget her anxiety. But now she knows. It was not the marriage that made up for her lack. This is the first experience where she is recognized. And it was a meeting with a lot of people. She don't regret walking out on this trial. She don't want to go back to the way it was before because for her, this moment is like getting a second life. The king stated, so, back to the test to determine the author of the Painting Street. Judgment will be made based on the arguments of both parties. Up to now, the divorce of the Count and the Countess Briarton was established, from her ex-husband Ryan Briarton. Inés Briarton won't be back. There is no change. End of trial. Nobles chatted. Is the divorce accepted? Should not Madame be called the Countess from now on? Ryan tried to approach her. Duke asked if he had anything to say to Count Briarton. Ryan replied he had something to tell Inés. Duke spoke. The Count must have been very tired of going to court. He would better have this conversation next time. Let's go, madam. After that, Duke told her, let's go this way, reporters won't come here. The king stated, there is a passageway that only royals can use. Please say thanks to the Duke. The Duke has begged him so much that he has no choice but to let him use this passage, Duke said, come on. The king stated the bravery she showed today was very interesting. The trial is still a good precedent. Of the other citizens in the kingdom, many people have to endure countless hardships for the same reason. See her soon, Count Briarton. Inés thought, Count, of course she have the regained her Count status. Now, the nightmare of the past can't go back anymore. She really appreciate him. Duke asked why she was crying. Everything was helped by her, wasn't it? So why does she cry on a beautiful day like this? Why is her forehead hot as fire? Inés replied she felt dizzy. Then she thought, what a mess, but her heart has never been so peaceful like this. On the other hand, Charlotte shouted, Ines, do she still think she will stay still? Absolutely not. She will take back everything she has. The next scene, Ines wakes up and thinks, this is her room in the mansion. How is the trial going? Is it all just a dream? Ines asks Mary. She doesn't remember when she returned to the mansion. The trial, how was the trial? Mary replies, Lady's side won the case, now she is really Count Brighton. And there is more, she also received a gift that has come from the Duke. Ines thinks the flowers are like the still life she drew when she first batted, he is so thoughtful. There was also headlines in the newspaper about the court proceeding. What happened at the trial yesterday was reported in detail. It turns out he tried his best, so now they also have to clean this up. After some time, Ryan asks, what is going on? Whose permission did they get to enter his sculpture's workshop? Ines states, of course, it's her permission. Ryan speaks, please think again. He is so stupid. He deserves to die to lose a good wife like her. Please, once, give him a chance. Ines speaks, in this sculpture workshop, all were decorated for him, from small pieces of furniture to the wallpapers, each even door, she herself chose all for him. But he was at this sculpture workshop, he kissed and smiled sweetly with her friend Charlotte, wrapped their body together. The ones she trusted are him and Charlotte, made fun of her. Happy divorce. She doesn't know how bright the future will be, but Ryan tries to attack her. Suddenly, Count Knights push him away and said, please step back. Ines thinks, people who are always by her side, in her previous life, she didn't notice, she is really sorry. Then she speaks, send Ryan out of this mansion. After that, Ines thanked all of them. Duke came and spoke. Although she had no time, she arranged the situation brilliantly. In this sculpture workshop, her ex-husband, Ines replies, yes, about Ryan. This is a place that was filled with her love. So now she wants to leave it forever. It seems like he wants to change it to a much better place, doesn't it, like a gallery. Duke thought he is so stupid. Why every time he mentions her ex-husband's story, she gets upset. Why did she choose him for this? Now he just realized. Duke asks her if she remembers her promise to invite him to eat after the trial is over. Ines thinks, of course, the trial is over, she can't see him anymore. Then she replies, of course not, just inviting him to eat, she will repay him all. Duke asks if he would like to receive a portrait painted directly by her. Then he thought he wants to keep meeting this person a little more. The next day, Duke stated he would be perfectly content with a more simple composition. Ines replied, apologizing since this portrait is meant to repay his kindness. She supposed she got a bit carried away. Then she thought now that the divorce trial is over, His Excellency and she have been meeting to work on his portrait. Duke remembered, when the king asked if he was really sure he had absolutely no feeling for the countess, Duke replied, brother is really beginning to vex him. The king spoke, it was only a jest, it's just that this is the very first time he have seen him go out of his way to use his status and position to help someone, considering he's never been one to voice his likes and desires, isn't it only natural for his curiosity to be piqued? Duke thought, it turns out he is quite perceptive, brother, it's true that in the beginning, it was her artistic genius that sparked his interest, but now things have changed. Now he is simply drawn to Ines as a person. Ines told him she is all done with the sketch. She was sure he must be exhausted. Duke replied, not as exhausted as she must be. She wrote the one working on the portrait after all. Ines asked if he was pleased with how the sketch turned out. Duke replied, yes, it's quite flattering. She has drawn him to look so dashing. In fact, he can't help but feel a bit sheepish. Ines asked once he had moved on to the painting, did he think he would still need a fair bit more time? They would likely need to meet for several more sessions. Would that be all right? Duke said he would be more than happy, but what about her? She is continuing to use this space as an atelier for the sake of this portrait, but would she not be more at ease using it for something other than its original purpose? Ines replied it's true that this space was once used by Ryan, but now that she is working on his portrait here, it's as if all of the bad memories are being painted over by good ones. Duke stated. Does that mean he gets to be a part of these fond memories she is making? He must say, he is overjoyed. Ines thought. Could it be that His Excellency sees her in a romantic light? No. It's not as if she can know the inner workings of his heart, there is no use speculating. That being said about her own feelings, the way she finds that she is pouring herself into the painting more than usual, and the way that His Excellency always lifts her spirits, could it be that she views him in a romantic light? No, she respects him. That's all, she has to draw the line at that. Ryan's lies, along with the truth about his affair with Charlotte, were all exposed in His Excellency's paper, not to mention, the Duke publicly backed her on a number of occasions. So if the nature of their relationship were to come into question, especially now that the trial has only just ended, people thought they can't believe the Duke, so the reason he sided with the Countess was that they were romantically involved. Duke asked if she was as pale as a ghost. If she was all right, Ines replied. Of course, she is just a bit tired. Then she thought His Excellency is such a wonderful person. She cannot allow his reputation to be damaged over feelings she is not even sure of. It's the best she nip this in the bud before the relationship has a chance to develop further, Ines spoke, suggesting they stop here for today since she is exhausted. After some time, Duke stated he is sure from now on, she is going to shine brilliantly, both as an artist and as the head of the county. It's a true honor being able to bear witness to her spreading her wings and taking flight. He just wanted to find the chance to tell her that, and being able to see her was an added benefit. Well then, have a good evening. Ines thought, oh dear. On the other hand, the king spoke, well, would she look at this? The Elton Daily sales must be through the roof. The queen asked what he was reading. Then she said, so it's an article about Lady Charlotte Jason. The king asked if he didn't realize Charlotte was someone she knew. The queen replied, how could she not? Though she can't say it's the fondest of memories. Then she thought nobles always talking about her as Charlotte the Leech. She is always making dogged attempts at leaving an impression on any and every noble she lays eyes on. In any case, she must say she is a bit surprised Count Byerton is caught up in all this. Seeing her at social gatherings, she always seemed to be the quiet type. King replied when he was just as surprised to see his brother go out of his way to help her. He guessed this just goes to show there's a lot more to it than what they know. Queen told him let's invite the Duke over to dinner soon. There happens to be something she would like to tell him. The king spoke, oh, so that event is to be held soon. The queen replied she suspects the Duke will take quite an interest in it. Wouldn't he think? The king said he certainly hopes so. At the Wickham residence, Ines thought this is the first time she has shown her face at a social gathering. Since reclaiming the countdom, she must demonstrate that the Briarton countdom is capable of withstanding scandal. Then she heard nobles chatting and praising the Duke for his support to Ines. The other one spoke. His taking over the Elton Daily is only further proof of that. Who would have guessed a periodical, which was on the brink of failure, would end up as the kingdom's leading press outlet? Ines thought, come to think of it, at one point the royal family was in an uproar over the question of who would be the successor to the throne. Ever since she met His Excellency, she has only seen him in his role as a businessman, so that thought had not occurred to her. It's almost as if he is intentionally distancing himself from the throne. Now, her chance to make an entrance, Ines came. All of them welcomed her. Suddenly, the maid said her apologies, but there is a gentlewoman just outside the estate who is causing quite the commotion, and demanding to be let inside. It's Lady Charlotte Jason. Outside the residence, Charlotte asked how dare she look down on her, she won't let her get away with this. Charlotte thought, darling of society, rose of the banquet hall, the dazzlingly beautiful Charlotte Jason, all of these were labels she had earned out in society. Since she had earned that reputation through her own tireless efforts, she thought that nobody could take it away from her, and yet, a noble's letter came. Please disregard the party invitation she extended to her a few days back. In another letter, the noble asked, is it true, but written in that article in the Elton Daily. Then she shouted, why is this happening? All of the banquet invitations she has received are being withdrawn one by one, and Ryan is nowhere to be found. Why is everyone in a dither over such a trivial scandal? All that hard work she put into securing a place in elite society, that wench Ines spoiled everything. First and foremost, she would better go see her. Then, at Ines' residence, Mary told her the master had not granted her entrance. Charlotte asked, "Why is she treating him like this?" "It's her, Charlotte, their master's dearest friend. She is quite certain that Ines instructed her to ground her entrance whenever she dropped by. Mary told her their master had retracted that order. If she wished to see her, she would have to arrange a meeting by official letter." Charlotte spoke. "She has simply come for a visit. Are such formalities really necessary?" Mary shouted, "Indeed they are. It's only the most etiquette. The master has already shown her countless generosities on the grounds of her friendship. To think she could be so ungrateful." Charlotte shouted, "Exactly what generosity has Ines ever shown her, and who is she, a servant, to pass judgment on her etiquette?" Mary replied, "She don't believe there is anything for them to discuss. Please take her leave, the master has an engagement with Baroness Wickham." Charlotte thought, the very Baroness who withdrew the invitation she sent her the second her scandal broke out. They are all in on this together. She knows Ines through and through. If she clings to the train of our skirt and proclaims that it was Ryan who seduced her first, that foolish sap will let go of her hard feelings in no time. And once she takes her back, she will be sure to spread a rumor so horrible, she will never be able to show her face in public again. In the next scene, Ines spoke. "It's all right, Baroness, she can let her in. She would hate for her to end up the subject of gossip, and all on her account because Lady Jason caused a scene in front of her house." After some time, Ines thought, "It's been a while, old friend." Charlotte thought she can't back down now. After all, it was Ines herself who granted her entrance. Even though she has come all this way, without her, she is still as lost as ever. Charlotte spoke. "Ines, thanks for agreeing to see her. It seems there's been a bit of misunderstanding between them, but she was hoping they might talk it all through." Ines stated they should begin by establishing how they ought to address one another. She and her both are titled nobility. It's only common courtesy that they address each other as such. Would not she agree? "Lady Jason, please take a seat." Isn't this the time she wanted to desperately attend? Charlotte replied, "Very well, Count." Ines spoke. "Come to think of it, Viscountess, she heard that her husband recently started a business importing ceramics, and he secured a rather large contract. In fact, if granted the opportunity to invest even a small amount, she would be elated to do so." Then they chatted with each other. Charlotte thought, what are they prattling on about? Before, she would have been at the center of the conversation, not Ines. Suddenly, Charlotte stood up. "Baroness, what does she take she is doing?" Charlotte shouted, "They are the ones treating her as if she is invisible. This is all her doing. Isn't it? She told everyone to alienate her by discussing topics with which she is unfamiliar. Ines speak. She hasn't the faintest idea what Lady Jason is talking about, but would she go out of her way to do something so childish? And even if what she says is true, what reason would these women have to go along with her demands?" Ines thought it really is laughable. She still had not caught on to the fact that the whole reason she was able to assimilate into elite society so rapidly was that she was right there at her side making the introductions and guiding the conversation to topics that were within the realm of her understanding, but she no longer wished to do so. Then she said she knew Lady Jason lived her life with no regard for reality, as evidenced by her affairs with her former husband, but still, she would best keep her delusions to a minimum. The Baroness spoke. She is right. In keeping with the Count's goodwill, she had intended to let this all slide, but her actions today have been beyond disappointing. She does not wish to hear another word. Please show Lady Jason off the premises. Charlotte spoke. Ines, just she wait. She will destroy her even if it's the last thing she does. At night, Ines asked, "Why ever do she look so sullen?" Mary replied, "She is sorry, Master. Lady Charlotte dropped by this afternoon looking for her, but once she began insulting Master, she just could not tolerate it and chased her off. Still, it's true that she was once her friend. She is sorry. She has overstepped. She is prepared to accept any punishment." Ines hugged her and spoke. Don't be silly. She is the one who should be sorry. The people who really care about her have been right by her side all along. And yet, failing to recognize that, she squandered her life away chasing after empty effects, that she has never properly conveyed her gratitude to the very people who have supported her through thick and thin. In spite of her foolishness, thanks to all of them, thank you so much. After that, Mary told her that while she was away, a letter arrived from His Excellency, the Duke of Sussex. Ines thought, His Excellency. Like this video. Hit the like button and subscribe for more videos.